Hi, I'm Rylingo and it's another non-review episode. Before I talked a little bit about gun control and I kind of touched on the subject of the Sandy Hook shooting. Now, as some of you may have been aware, there have been conspiracy theories about the Sandy Hook shooting, and there's a few videos about those conspiracy theories on YouTube, and you can find the first one here and the second one here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just talk about the second video because the first video has been thoroughly debunked. So I'm going to talk about the second video, and if you want to watch it first, or you can check that way to see that I'm not misrepresenting the video in some way, shape or form. And right after a quick little montage about how popular your videos have become, we get onto the topic of demonization and hate. Great, so you're telling us that YouTube comments can be rude sometimes? What do you want, a cookie? Do you think the only rude comments came from those who were against what you were saying? People who are conspiracy theorists are also quite rude in comments sometimes. I've got flamed by conspiracy theorists before, whenever I talked about 9/11 before. So I get it. There's arguments. People get passionate. That's not a point in your favour. I like how you throw debunkers into quotation marks alongside the hate groups. If you believe the truth is important, you should welcome debunkers. For a conspiracy theorist, debunkers should be your brothers in arms. Both groups should kind of like each other because it keeps each other in check. It helps you avoid things like confirmation bias.
I think that we need to, as a society, look at things more carefully. Perhaps we as a society have been conditioned to be duped.
Now, I don't even really know.
About asking questions. A big part of this video and the previous one is about stating that it's okay to ask questions. And I'd agree with that on the surface. It's fine to ask questions, but I'd add a condition at the end. It's fine to ask questions as long as you're open-mindedly waiting for an answer. You see, some people make assertions but hide them as questions. You see, making an assertion takes balls, and you can be embarrassed by making a bad assertion. The whole question assertion thing is a common tactic used in conspiracy videos, and if you want to see an example of this, a little miniature video of how you would do this, here's one. I just want my questions answered. That's all. I want my questions answered. Why would a YouTuber use already debunked points in a new video? I mean, if I made a conspiracy and my points were debunked, I wouldn't use them again. So, I'm just asking a question. I'm not saying he's doing it on purpose. I'm just asking a question. Can YouTubers make money off videos? Just another question. I'm not saying anything. I'm just asking a question. You see, that terribly accented video was not about actually asking a question. That was about making a statement and hiding it behind a question. A probably false statement, by the way, but it's been hidden behind a question.
Now, I don't even really know what that means, what he is saying, what the words coming out of his mouth mean. To suggest the reporters on the ground didn't work to find out what happened there on the ground is beyond crazy. Everybody asks questions, and that's what we do.
It's starting to become clear that you're hearing whatever you want to hear. You've kind of lost touch with what the news anchor is actually saying. What the news anchor is saying is that he felt insulted that you're calling all the reporters either inept or fraudulent, because that's what you're doing. You're saying that the reporters are either bad at their jobs or fraudulently helping the government. And he's insulted by this. That's what he's saying in this video. He never asked you to not ask questions. Claiming that these families may be liars or government stand-ins is a verbal attack. And let's face it, these families will now probably be harassed by other conspiracy theorists based on your video. Now I know that's not your fault. You are not responsible for the actions of others. But you do have a responsibility to make sure what you place in your video is correct. And if any of your statements are false, you should announce it in a video or in another video or in a response in comments or something. You need to make sure that fake information is not still referred to as a source. This is important and you should go out of your way to make it clear when you've made an error. I'm sorry, why is this even relevant in the slightest? If you want to take people's gun rights away, why would you require a manual? I'm sorry, it's not even coincidental when you consider the prevalence of shootings in schools in America. And 4 days, does it matter that it was 4 days? If it had been a month, you still probably would have come out with this statement in your video. They've probably been working on this booklet for a while. Unless the manual itself has something relevant to the Sandy Hook shooting, why did you mention it? Did it affect the outcomes in any way? Probably not. If so, I'm sure you would have mentioned it. Have you read the manual? Have you checked it out? Is there anything concerning in the manual? None of this answered in your video, but it's all things that you should have checked when making the video. Actually, they lie pretty much all the goddamn time. You can literally put whatever you want into a URL, and often the auto-generated date and time that comes with them is completely wrong. I can't believe this is a point, and I can't believe you wouldn't know this. Because the girl who created the page was getting lots of abuse from conspiracy theorists, she hoped to avoid this by taking the page down and replacing it with a new one. Well, that was easily answered, wasn't it? If only had I thought about it for all of 4 or 5 seconds. It's very clear why she took the page down. Are you even trying here? You've been told the reasons, yet you've ignored them and made this a part of your second video. So the technical side of things obviously doesn't matter to you. Why is this? I've got a much more important question right now, Think Outside the TV. Why would a government agency with enough reach and funding to perpetrate this sort of fraud even make a charity website to begin with? People would have created them anyway, so this is senseless. How is this proof of a conspiracy? You think they're going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars carrying out a conspiracy and screw up by making a web page and Facebook pages a few days early? Have you lost your mind? Because American news stations are subpar and have been subpar for a long time. They're looking for any clip that will boost their ratings, and they're perfectly willing to use fraudulent clips anytime it'll help them. They want money, that's it, they want money. My question for you, Mr. TV, is, do you think this means that the news stations have been paid off? I mean, it seems to me like the manpower and money required for this conspiracy widens by the hour. I sure hope no one involved talks, because, you know, people would never ever talk. Because no one is going to take pictures of crying children being led away from the massacre of their friends. No one is that fucking heartless, and even if they were, I would think another person would take the phone and delete the images before slapping the guy across the face. At the very least, there is going to be serious legal issues with spreading these photos. If they were staging a shooting, it would have been easy to get photos taken. So I don't think this is an issue, and I don't think this is a point that helps your conspiracy in any way. Later in the video, you suggest the use of Photoshop, so it's obvious that you don't see photos as evidence to begin with, and if you don't see photos as evidence, why are you demanding them at all?
I am a degreed graphic artist. I have a Bachelor of Science degree from an accredited university. So I'm trained to kind of see these anomalies in photos.
I have a degree in computing and another subject. I've done graphic design work in the past, and I've taken a look at the Parker family photo, and it doesn't seem photoshopped to me. Maybe the reason why no one has mentioned a graphic designer saying the photos are fake is because they think your graphic designer is bad at his job, and they have better people looking at the photos who can see that it's not photoshopped.
This is clearly a Photoshop photo with Emily pasted to the right. But the first thing you're going to notice is that she's just not in a natural position. You also notice the size of her skull is small in comparison to her sisters. Okay, she's the oldest. She should have a bigger head, so to speak. The coloring of her is off. She's brighter. It's almost like she's been color adjusted. There should be some shadowing down at the bottom portion of his arm, of his left arm, and there's nothing.
Okay, just for a start, skulls don't grow much. Children have large heads when compared to their body. Their body grows quickly and the head barely grows at all. Her skull looks smaller because she is further back in the photo than her sister. It's about perspective. That's also why the shading on her is different. Come the fuck on.
Another thing I immediately recognized was Emily's hairline. You look all around the top of her hairline, there's not one hair out of place. Now, for those of us that are not graphic designers, this may be hard to kind of understand what I'm saying here. So I thought I would show a comparison. So if you look at Emily's mother and her sister, you can see how the light comes through. The background and the light comes through the edge of their hair, so you can actually see image behind it.
Actually, no you can't. I've looked at the photos and you can't. This is bullshit. It's real bullshit.
See the straw on Robbie Parker's knee? Why does the image of the straw get cut off right at his knee?
Maybe that's where the two pieces of straw finished.
Parents, loved ones of slain young people wanted to remember their sons and their daughters, and as a result they spoke and made a statement. So we'll see if Robbie Parker, I assume he's going to come out to the microphones now and make a statement. Looks like the family is there and they're getting ready to come to the microphone, so we'll listen in. And they're getting ready to come to the microphone, so we'll listen in. We'll listen in. Okay. Okay. So my name's Robbie Parker.
Okay, now I'm starting to get angry. You've been called out on this before by several people. People do not just act depressed and sit in a corner when something bad happens. I've been to countless funerals. I've been to wakes. A wake, for anyone who doesn't know, is an Irish tradition where you sit around the body for a few days after the death. I have never been at a funeral or a wake that didn't have laughter at it. People remember the good times. They smile, they laugh, they make cheesy jokes. But when it comes to moving the body, they are hit by why they are there and they suddenly become sad again. What we have here in this clip is a man laughing, chuckling, thinking about funny thoughts and about good times. Then when he realizes that he must talk about his daughter's death, the gravity of the event strikes him again. This is not acting. This is reality. By now you've been made aware of this, Think Outside the TV. So I'm kind of wondering why you're purposely misleading your audience. Why is that? Why are you misleading your audience? Because that's what happens at every nasty event, at every shooting, at every bombing, at every horrible accident. The media will find a human interest story to sell the drama to the public. It looks like the media is using the Parker family for their human interest story this time. The willingness of the Parker family to talk to the press has probably led to this. If you've even done the slightest examining of how the media works, you will know this.
Hey guys, SGT here, and given the horrors that we saw occur at Sandy Hook Elementary on Friday, December 14th, and the many inconsistencies with the official story.
Most of the holes brought up in the official story is not holes in the official story at all. It's not even the official story. It's the media's story. The official story is nothing to do with the media's story. We'll see the official story in maybe a couple of months' time. The media just releases whatever it can to try and get ahead of its rivals and sell the story first. The media makes mistakes all the time.
We do not see the mainstream Mockingbird media following up on reports of 2 people, men, in a van that were detained fleeing that school. They were detained by an officer. The raw police recordings reveal this as fact, and we do not see anybody, except for the alternative media, following up on these very critical issues.
The reason they didn't follow up on this is because they were found to be wrongly detained. The mainstream media didn't wish to embarrassingly admit that they'd screwed up with the reporting. The maker of this video has already been made aware of this. Full details of what happened with these 2 men has been sent to him by other users. He is choosing to ignore it now and lie to his people. Once again, ThinkOutsideTheTV is lying to his viewers on purpose.
It was reported immediately on the first day, multiple times, over multiple venues, that the shooter was found with 2 handguns.
Correct. And the rifle was in the trunk of his car.
That's right. The assault rifle was in the trunk of his car. Later, to fit the official story and the coroner's report, it was then changed, and it was said that the assault rifle was found next to his body.
The media took in tons of reports, loads of them inaccurate, about the guns, and they put it on air. The media will always make screw-ups. And remember in your previous video, when you made the screw-up, you brought up guns. You said that the shooter couldn't have used an assault rifle because the assault rifle was still in his boot. Yet everyone who's seen that video, everyone, pointed out to you that it's not an assault rifle in the boot, it's clearly a pump-action shotgun. Anyone with even the slightest understanding or knowledge of guns can see it's a pump-action shotgun, not an assault rifle. You should apologise for this mistake. And instead of leaving the disinformation out there, you should put an annotation on your original video saying that it was wrong.
You mentioned sheeple, and the one thing that really bothers me, Sean, is the fact that the people in this country, the sheeple in this country, are so far gone that they actually believe that somebody like President Obama can legislate these things from not happening anymore.
You see, this is some embarrassing hypocrisy. At the end of this video, you complained about being grouped into the truther category. And then the next minute, you group anyone who disagrees with you into the sheeple category. You can't complain about grouping when you do it yourself.
Go where you said.
92, we're be on the roof. Check that area.
872, Y-A-T-E Echo Alaska. 872, Y-E-O.
Rodia. First name is Rodia, R-O-D-I-A.
This has been thoroughly debunked, and you can find several sources of what actually happened. The Snopes link isn't bad, give it a try. They'll list exactly what happened with the cars and the issues with that. I'm sure there is plenty of legal reasons that they can't release the video of a killer murdering children. And even if they did release it, you would just say it was special effects or something anyway. You would say it was staged. So it's pointless. Why would they release this video to try and change the mind of conspiracy theorists when they know damn well that nothing can change your mind, Think Outside TV. Nothing would ever make you think that this is not a conspiracy. Why would they release that video? It would traumatize people. The media would go crazy over it. It's bad to release a video and it serves no good purpose to do so. So they're not going to. So, no. This part has already been debunked, and Think Outside the TV knows it's been debunked. And the reason it was removed is because conspiracy theorists were kind of spouting abuse, and you know, it's personal footage and pictures, and people don't want to be yelled at by conspiracy theorists. That's why it was removed. No big crazy conspiracy, it's just people don't like being given abuse. Seriously. I love how the Gulf of Tonkin just gets thrown into the conversation about conspiracies nowadays. It was an actual real life conspiracy. It is very much true. Unlike Building 7, that's been debunked. I'm sorry, it's been debunked thoroughly. If this guy used Google properly, then he would know Building 7 has been debunked, but obviously he doesn't do his research and he doesn't educate himself. I agree though that you should always be skeptical. You should be skeptical when viewing conspiracy theory videos too though. Just throw in a George Orwell quote in there because that immediately makes you seem like a learned man. I've heard people complaining that they don't like being compared to crackpot conspiracy theorists. Well, the Sandy Hook shooting is on that level. It's that silly. Even the theory where the whole world is run by reptilian overlords makes more sense. It's got more internal consistency than this terrible piece of trash. I've always liked me a good conspiracy. A good conspiracy. But I don't like hack jobs. I don't like really bad videos. I'll defend loose change. I like the loose change 9/11 videos. I mean, I know they've been thoroughly debunked. But, I mean, for the resources that the guys had at the time, I thought they made an interesting, entertaining video. And I thought a lot of the questions they asked, at least the questions they asked, needed to be answered. And they were answered. And it was debunked. I'll defend the loose change videos. This video, however, is a load of shit. It's disappointing. It's boring. The questions they ask are the most inane, terrible questions. Not even interesting questions. And most of the questions they ask can be answered by anyone, even idiots like myself. This is a really poorly constructed conspiracy. I am disappointed. Think Outside the TV. I am very disappointed. And I would love any feedback that you yourself have. I mean, you're probably down with comments, so I understand if you're not answering people like me, but nonetheless. So, I'm Rylingo. That's my kind of half debunk, half just talk about video. I wonder if anyone's going to say I'm an FBI agent now. That's happened before. That has happened before. You'd be surprised.